Hello and welcome to the second installment of my 12 video series on the first movement of Stravinsky's Petrushka. Today we're going to be covering the second section in my neat little color-coded score here. This covers bars 9 through 15. One of the reasons I wanted to do a deep dive on this piece specifically is because it's broken up neatly into very contrasting sections, musically and also technically. Each new section presents fresh challenges and unusual pianistic complexity. So it's a perfect piece to explore the applications of these technical theories. It's a great practice playground. Let's break down what's going on in this section. Basically what we have is just a lot of complexity. You know, my old teacher Marc Durand used to say, complex things are just a lot of simple things layered on top of each other. I think that really applies here, where you just have a lot of different elements playing together at the same time. So I think a really good place to start is by examining the original orchestral score, since this is a transcription. I think the complexity comes from taking a large orchestral score, a Stravinsky score no less, and reducing it to two hands on the piano. Let's take a look. So if we start with this glissando, it's a xylophone. So that informs a little bit the kind of glissando we want. Probably not a little to no pedal, and very measured, very even, so that we hear each little note of it, like you would on a very percussive instrument like a xylophone. Glissandi are things we don't actually practice that much. So I want to say a couple of words about how I like to practice them. First of all, if you value your cuticles, I would advise not playing a glissando passage over and over and over again. You can mime the glissando, play the first note and the last note. Or actually the first note is probably the C. So if you want to practice the transition from the fourth to glissando, you might do something like that. The way I like to play glissandi is with the nails and 2, 3, and 4 mostly. 3 and 4 really is what I usually slide on. Everyone's a little different, especially with this technique. Some people have fatter fingers than others, some people have a heavier hand than others, so it's going to feel a little different in your hand. But the nail is a much better sliding surface than skin. So the nails of 3 to 4 seem to be the best surface for me. It's important to know where your bump is. So if you were following along from the beginning, I talk a lot about the point of sound, or the bump. On a grand piano, that is the little bump on the way down to the bottom of the key. You'll feel, if you press the key slowly, you'll feel a little resistance, and then it goes the rest of the way down. That is where you want to aim, generally at the piano. You don't want to aim at the wood underneath the bump, but you want to aim where the sound is actually made, which is that bump. And for a glissando, I'm playing in the area just above the bump. If you imagine the key as having a depth like this, here's the bump. I'm in this area here. As shallow as I can be and still make a sound. It's really important that my hand be completely free, because any rigidity is where you're going to start feeling a lot more pain when you play glissandi. Now, glissando is probably the easiest part of this passage, so let's move on. Continuing with our orchestral analysis, we have several different elements. So you have the top voice, I think the first step is just see who's playing. If you notice, it's not the same instrument all the way through. These are flutes, and this is trumpet, and then this is clarinet, and then this is oboe. So you want to convey the difference in timbre of all of these different instruments. Immediately following the glissando, you're going to be very light for the flutes, and then maybe a little brighter for the trumpet. The clarinets are still bright, but not as forceful as the trumpet. So maybe a slower speed of attack, and then again a little brighter for the oboe. And then this is another xylophone. You want to apply a little bit of percussion for this quintuplet.